right. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Garage Podcast, the most inclusive and accessible nerd culture show on the interwebs. I am your host, David Dassaw, and joined with me is my brand new co-host, Mr. Zach Wills. How are you doing, Mr. Zach Wills?
I like to eat apples and bananas. That's my day.
You don't have a toddler. You don't have a toddler, do you?
Oat. Oh yeah. Did you guys do simple songs for your kids?
We no. We did like all the contemporary stuff, like Baby Shark
Oh yeah.
and Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like I actually did you see that screenshot that I posted on Facebook earlier this week of it was my release radar for Spotify, and it was like basically all the bands that I listened to except like Thomas the Tank Engine. Like apparently like Thomas just dropped a brand new hot track and and like my post was like, all right, my son is officially fucking up my Spotify algorithm.
Why have you been listening to Monster Mash since July, David?
I don't know. What I just learned is that Pam really hates Monster Mash. I mean, do not bring it up in front of Pam ever. Whatever you do not bring up Monster Mash. Okay. Well, so we are, in fact, here to talk about some nerdy shit, right? Not like toddlers, music, and whatnot. At least that I know of, right? Isn't that the deal? Isn't that the deal that we came up with?
Wait, what podcast am I on? I thought this was the dad podcast.
Not today. That's tomorrow.
No.
So yeah, we have another nerdy news update for you this week. I know we just did one a couple weeks ago, but we are trying to do these a little bit more frequently because we know that you guys like the contemporary news. We like to hit on some contemporary news items every once in a while to balance out the evergreen content. So that's what we're here to do. Zach, are you pumped for it? I know you're pumped.
Pins and needles.
Pins and needles, my friend. Yeah. So before we get to that, actually, we had kind of, sort of, but not really a Facebook poll. It was just a simple post and request on the Facebook group looking for suggestions on Halloween topics. Not that we're lazy and can't figure it out for ourselves, but you know, we like to open the floor up for discussions every once in a while because it doesn't make sense for beg to differ.
I didn't say it.
So you know, it doesn't make sense for us two jabronis to just talk about whatever we want to talk about all the time, right? Like it makes sense to every once in a while indulge the good people, the good listeners and fans of the podcast and talk about some things that they want to hear.
Of course.
So we did get some good suggestions. Like I mean, it's all either like horror movie or like Halloween themed related. Most of the responses that we got, like someone suggested best Halloween memories. I thought that was a pretty solid one. One of our good buddies, Mac, that's been on the podcast several times, he suggested this was one of my favorites actually, like best sequels versus worst sequels when it comes to horror movies. Yeah, I actually reached out to him after he gave that comment and asked him for some examples because I was like, this is so good. And I'm blinded by how good the suggestion is to like some actual examples of what we could talk about. So yeah, we may go with that. One of my really good friends, Amanda, she suggested like a history of Halloween, maybe from like different cultures, how different cultures in parts of the world celebrate it, just the origins of Halloween in general. So yeah, we definitely got some good suggestions. Zach, how are you feeling about these suggestions? You think they're pretty
Love
solid?
the history of Halloween one. I like learning about the history of our
Hmm.
holidays. There's a couple books that I try to at least pick up every year. One for the Fourth of July,
Hmm.
one for Thanksgiving, and I do love reading about like the Salem witch trials and how we perceived ghosts throughout our history, because that's a pretty cool topic, and how some of the writing from like, I forget what time period it was, but the devil was like really pronounced in literature. Like the devil was always in the woods, and that was like in the early settling of the country because they were so afraid of what might be lurking in the woods. So that was another one, and they were afraid obviously of like the natives. But yeah, I,
Right.
I I like reading about that stuff, so I definitely am looking forward to that one. I don't know what I'm going to bring to the horror discussion because I'm a huge pansy and I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I like the supernatural aspect though. I like ghosts. I
Okay.
desperately want to
Yeah.
see or witness a ghost, although I'm terrified of it.
That combination makes a lot of
Hmm.
sense. Funny enough, it's like that fascination where you like, I desperately want to have an
Yeah.
encounter, but at the same time, the idea, the very thought of it is fucking
Hmm. Do you
terrifying.
have any do you have any
Makes
recurring dreams or themes of dreams?
just in
Yeah.
general, or like um so one, you'll be able to appreciate this. It's borderline dream slash nightmare.
Hmm.
I'd say it's just a dream because it's not. Anyways, so it is pretty much my only recurring dream, and I'm back working at Olive Garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for the listeners that aren't aware, Zach and I, we first met working at Olive
I've had
Garden.
that dream.
So yeah, it is pretty much my only recurring dream that I have, um, and it's terrifying because I don't want to go work there, and the circumstances of me having to go back and work at Olive Garden, like it's always like present and relevant to my current situation. Like it's never like a hypothetical scenario where I'm back in my early 20s working at Olive Garden. It's never that. It's always I am a 35-year-old man and I like lost my job, and so I have to go back to Olive Garden like hat in hand and be like, please sir, can I have my job back?
You
and
can, but it's
and
never
here
ending
I
pasta bowl month. No.
no.
Not to disparage anybody in the service industry. Obviously, you can do well in the service industry and all that stuff. But yeah, we
Mhm.
that so you have the job you used to have, and I know this for a fact. And there are other pilots out there who dream about having to fly an airplane they haven't flown in a while. That's one that I've talked to
Mm,
more than two people. They have that same recurring dream. Um, I
interesting.
have the problem you can't solve dreams, where you're trying to accomplish a task and for some reason you just can't. Everything keeps going wrong. But another one I have is
Mm.
ghosts. I dream about ghosts, and it's never like seeing a ghost. It's always things moving that shouldn't be moving or moving on their own, or like I can't move because I'm being held. Yeah,
Ooh,
I have those not irregularly for some reason.
that's are they? Would you consider those more dreams or nightmares?
I don't consider it. I don't wake up in a panic. I do have like an elevated heart rate, but I don't like
Mm,
startle awake. You know what I mean? So that's
sure.
that's
Yeah,
that
that
that, that
that
is
makes
one
sense.
thing that I do continually dream. I have that theme, and that's maybe why I just want to see a ghost. I don't know. Maybe that's my subconscious telling
Okay.
me that I want to see a ghost.
Yeah. No matter what, whenever I have like a super complex, like fucking just super bizarre dream, like I always feel like it's my brain just working shit out. Like I think that might be just dreams in general, but I feel like, if you have a weird dream like that, your brain is just like this big tangled ball of yarn.
Yeah.
And by the end of the dream, when you wake up, like it's kind of like the yarn is like all unknotted and stuff, but still you're kind of left with like, what the fuck was that all about?
I know.
um but yeah, anyways, Um, so yeah, we definitely have a lot to go off of with our potential Halloween topics, and I'm really excited to Zach, for us to kind of talk a little bit more off air and finalize some of these, and
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time left,
really
do we? How
nail.
many weeks in September? We got one more week and then 4 in October. So that's only 5 episodes.
Yes, yeah, we got this episode and then one more next week for September, and then yeah, so we got to get our shit together, buddy.
Well, maybe we can bleed into November too, because Thanksgiving, who really cares? So what do you do for Thanksgiving? Oh, we eat a lot. So do we, and that's really like all there is to talk about with that.
Yeah, I think that's what we ended up doing last year too. Ted and I, we just had some I don't know, what do you call it, spillover, pour over episodes where like we just couldn't get them in on
Yeah.
time to like as bonus episodes, and we were like, fuck it, we'll just release them as regular
Mm-hmm.
episodes. So that's what we ended up doing, and so for like the first 2 weeks of November, it was like, surprise, it's more horror themed
Why
episodes
not?
or spooky themed. Yeah, I know, right? Um, all right. Well, Zach, shall we pour into our nerdy news for the week?
Hit me, baby, one more time. Free Britney.
Cool. Uh, is isn't she officially emancipated from her fucking asshole of a
Yeah, the
dad?
conservatorship. I can't remember. I saw an article where the judge agreed to release it. I don't really know. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know. We did have a Free Britney sign hanging over our
Yeah.
driveway for about a month.
Excellent. That is great to hear. I say that with utmost sincerity, actually, because
Yeah,
um,
fuck that guy.
that whole situation is yeah, fuck that guy in
Yeah.
particular, right in the ass, in the most uncomfortable way.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. Anyways, getting on to the news. Do you want to start us off? Do you have anything to kick this baby off, or do you want me to kick this baby
Yeah,
off?
let me. I've only got a few. When I was talking about the Disney annual passes an episode or two ago, there's one thing I missed that
Sure.
I just learned. Apparently, and honestly, I just heard this in passing and I didn't confirm it, but apparently, you can't get monthly payments. You know how they have like a monthly payment plan unless you pay in person. So I think this is just another way to like
Mm.
restrict people from having the monthly option. They want you to either pay in full or not be an annual pass holder and just pay each time you come. So that is one thing I forgot. That's something I'm going to have to contend with as soon as we can get our daughter vaccinated. I'm going to buy them that day. So I was going to just wait till I go and then get the monthly payments, but I don't want to have to coordinate, with a 2-year old stopping, buying the passes and having to go through all that stuff. Let's see. What's up?
So, does that mean that you would have to go to Disney every month and like make a payment,
No,
or is that just like the initial
correct.
purchase?
So if you want the monthly option,
Okay,
my understanding is you have to actually go and get them when you go to the park and sign up there. Otherwise, I think you have to
okay,
pay full price. Again, I haven't logged on and tried to buy them yet, so I don't know. But that's what I heard today.
sure.
Actually, I heard that on another YouTube's. Something else I'm excited for. Many Saints of Newark. Have you seen this?
Oh yes, super pumped about
Yep.
that. Wasn't a so I really liked The Sopranos. Mafia and like mafia stuff like doesn't get me super jazzed like it does a lot of people, but I do appreciate
Mhm.
it. I appreciate the show objectively. So I am really excited about this show. I'm excited that what's his name? Tony Soprano, the the guy that played him
Gandolfini,
that
James.
passed away. Yes, James Gandolfini. His son is actually playing young
Yeah,
Tony
yeah.
Soprano. I was really excited to hear about that. So, but yes, since you bring it up, I'm assuming that you're relatively excited
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
yeah. I watched The Sopranos through probably twice. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it.
Okay.
I do like the mob movies. So that was one thing I wanted to
Yeah.
point out to people. If you haven't heard about it, that's something to look for because that's going to be really great. I don't know what it's on. It might be HBO, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're planning on releasing it
I
on.
don't remember. Just
That this
yeah.
whole Yeah, this whole like movies coming to theaters and streaming services at the same time is like, excuse me, it's really snowballing. Like HBO Max, I don't know if you'd consider them the first to do this, but I feel like they kickstarted some new movement, because like Halloween Kills is doing the same thing where same day as it comes out in theaters, it will be streaming on Peacock, which I'm actually now kind of glad I held on to my Peacock subscription because I'm like one of three people that has it. Everyone else is. You have
Yeah, I
it
bought it
too?
just for The Office.
Yeah, me too. The Office and Parks and
Yep.
Rec. But yeah, now I'll be able to watch Halloween Kills whenever it comes out. And to all you like naysayers, or people that might be like, oh, fucker, I thought you supported movie theaters. You are correct. I support movie theaters, and I would gladly go see this movie in the movie theater. But I don't really have anyone to go see movies with right
Mhm.
now. And aside from my wife, and if she comes with me, then we need a sitter. And it's not super easy finding a sitter, just in general, especially
Yeah.
nowadays. But a sitter that wants to watch two kids that have autism, so
Yeah.
because it's a challenge, a little bit. But anyways, so um, but yeah, that's sorry, I just kind of took over your thing
No, no,
there.
it's okay.
You were talking about
Yeah, let me see. I think I
um,
only had like one or two more things I wanted to bring up for people. There's a new Harry Potter park coming apparently. Yeah,
really?
it's going to be. It's not. They're careful not to call it an amusement park. They're calling it like a walking tour, but it's supposed to be pretty big. I
Hmm,
had an article. I'm trying to articulate better when I speak into the microphone. Hang on, let me get this for you because
you're doing
I want to
great.
make sure
I'm so proud of you.
crushing it. Aren't you glad you tapped me for this, David? Um,
I did. I tapped that so hard.
really glad I decided to do this. No, so they say construction has finally started on the Harry Potter attraction planned for the site. It's going to be in Tokyo. Hmm. So you got to
Okay.
fly to Tokyo. But opening of the 30,000 square meter park metric system. This is America. Warner Brothers Studio Tour Tokyo. Warner Brothers Japan and Seibu Railway, the owner of the site, are partnering on the construction. Let's see. The attraction, which the Studio Tour Tokyo site is careful to describe as a walking tour and not a theme park, will feature a replica soundstage and backlot outdoor area from the Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts films series. So basically, I think what they're saying is this is like the Universal Warner Brothers Studio Tour in London.
Hmm.
It's going to be that
Okay.
sort of thing. Opening in 2023, I think, and 6,000
Okay.
visitors per day is the capacity. And you know that
Oh wow, they're actually slapping a capacity on that.
for now, apparently.
That that's pretty cool. I mean, I am pro capacity.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean, even if you have to get on a wait list, like, I mean, that's the thing about like amusement parks and shit like that is like you go and it's super fucking crowded. Like, you end up waiting 6 hours for one ride.
yeah. I know. Well, that's what
Um,
Disney had to
but
do. The number one complaint was crowds. It's overcrowded. It's overcrowded. Well,
yeah,
how do we reduce capacity and still make money? Because we lost a lot during the pandy. Um, you just got to
hmm,
charge more per person, and it is what it is.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, for sure. But no, that's really cool. I'd go the fuck out of that. Well, that didn't come out right. I would definitely go to that walking tour. I would definitely fly to Japan for that shit. That sounds like fun. I've always wanted to go to Japan anyways,
Yeah,
so
I've wanted to
it
check it
just
out.
kind of seals the
My
deal.
dad's actually been a few times. He did it for work. So that's
Okay.
all I got about that. Do you take in any trash TV, David?
Um,
Spec-
it depends on
Specifically, the Housewives
what you
series.
classify. I do not.
Well, the wife and I do. Amada and I have been watching Real Housewives Salt Lake City, and season one
Mm-hmm.
is already out. So for anybody who's into like trash TV and like that little niche of entertainment, season two of Salt Lake City Housewives is out. And back earlier this year, one of the housewives, Jen Shaw, was arrested for fraud. And apparently that happened while they were still filming season two, and we're 2 episodes in. So that's great for everybody who's a fan. Can't wait to watch that unfold. If you if you have access to it through anything, just go back and just like pick any of them. New Jersey, Salt Lake City, pick any of them, and just watch the reunion episodes and just the beautiful
Mm-hmm.
disaster that is these people. It's just mostly white rich women screaming at each other. It's so good.
Is the premise to like, are they all locked in a house together, or do they
No.
just like find a bunch of like rich white women that have well-to-do families and husbands, and they're like, okay, now like congregate, and then we're gonna write a script for you, and then you're gonna argue about like um, X, Y, and Z bullet
I shouldn't
points.
say that it's predominantly white. They do a good job of like having a real mixed bag and cast and stuff like that. But it focuses on these wives who are either business owners themselves or like inherited wealth or like have husbands who have a lot
Hmm.
of money. Some of them that's the case. But it's like watching these people, these families just spend way beyond their means, and it's all about appearance. Like it's all about appearing rich, right? Very few of them are like actually wealthy
Right.
and like have successful businesses and stuff like that. Some of them just like go way beyond. Like this Jin Shaw character, the house that they were in, the Shaw Chateau, in season one was apparently like an Airbnb. It came out that she was just renting it for the show, and it was like this McMansion. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Everybody drives a Porsche or a
uh,
Range Rover or something, right? And it's just like opulence, nothing but opulence, and it's all just a show. It's so good.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's
Well,
really entertaining.
classic. Yeah, I don't really get into those shows too much. I just my slate is so overcrowded already that there's like very little wiggle room for anything. Like I've my calendar has been booked solid with just nothing but horror movies. Like
Mhm.
I know I showed you that poster that I just got, that scratch off poster of like the 100 most classic or essential horror movies, and it starts in chronological, or it goes in chronological order of release date. So like the first like 10 movies are pre um like talkies era. So they're all silent movies, which is like challenging because I'm used to watching like contemporary horror flicks, or at least ones from like the 70s and 80s. But the upside is that they're so fucking old that they're in the public domain and they're free, like on YouTube
Mhm.
or streaming services. So that's basically been the thing that's been occupying my time if I'm not working on Tumblr orders from the Etsy shop.
I'm not
So,
above watching some like old horror movies. One, because the effects aren't as
so
realistic, and two, I have to like remind
yeah,
myself like, oh, that's a special effect. Oh, that's a special effect. I wonder how they did that. Like I have to
yeah,
math that out of my head and not get too engrossed, because you know how I am. I tend to get really into something, and I have an active imagination, which
hmm,
I think I said like the last
yeah.
2 podcasts we did. I keep bringing that up, but I
It's okay. I repeat myself every fucking
yeah, no,
day.
I have to like take myself out of that moment and be like, oh, I wonder how they did that effect, or I wonder what that actor was thinking. I
Hmm.
have to view it through that lens.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, so I've seen. Let's see. So the doctor, the cabinet of Doctor Caligari, I think is how you say it. Um, the Phantom Carriage and Nosferatu are the three that I've watched so
Hmm.
far, and all three of those were first time watches. Any movie that's on this poster that I've seen already, I'm not going to
Yeah.
rewatch just because I'm trying to watch new ones. Um, unless it's one that I just haven't seen in a really long time and want to rewatch. But it's, it's all about watching new ones. And yeah, it's been fun. Nosferatu is legit
Yeah.
good. Like that, like the makeup effects that they did for, I forget the actor's name, but dude, it is so good. And like, I don't know if it was intentionally like dark humor, but like I picked up on a little bit of what seemed like dark humor where the dude like goes to Nosferatu's like big, castle mansion thing, and they're talking and he shows him a picture of his wife and he's like, his eyes get all wide and he's like, your wife has a lovely looking neck. And the dude's like, what? And he's like, what? I was like, this is legit fucking funny. Like it feels like dark humor. I was
That's
laughing
good. I
my
like that. So
ass
wait,
off at that
was this
shit.
the original, the 1922 version?
Yeah. The old well, I guess it's kind of in color. It's very washed out and monochromatic, but I think it does have a little bit of color to it. But yeah, it was legit good. I mean, all three of these movies that I've seen so far have been pretty good, but they have been a couple of them try my patience just because like I'm trying to get my bearings on these older
Hmm.
movies because they don't follow the same format as a lot of the more contemporary ones that I'm used to. But anyways, that's not really news. We're here to talk about news items. God damn it. Um, Zach, do you have anything
No.
else that you
Nope.
gathered?
Nope. I got nothing else. Those are the
Okay.
things I wanted to hit just to bring to people's attention.
Okay. So I know we briefly mentioned Dune
Hmm.
earlier, just kind of talking about it coming to HBO Max. Um, the director Denis Villeneuve, he made headlines. It seems like him and his movie are making headlines like for some reason or another, like every week. Uh, for like the last several months. Just Dune is getting a lot of hype, but he apparently was interviewed with this Spanish either online magazine or online publication called or Spanish newspaper El Mundo. So I guess it's online and physical. I'm
Hmm.
not sure, but uh, I don't, Zach. I don't know if you saw anything about this, but he made some not so generous comments about the MCU and Marvel
Oh, okay.
movies in general. He, I don't want to take too much out of context, but he basically accused them of being like kind of copy paste and just lacking imagination and creativity, and it just seems like they get a little redundant over time. And like, so this is the thing. This is probably the only topic today that I'm going to get on a soapbox
Do
about.
it.
And I'll
Do it.
try.
Do it, coward.
Try not to. I'll try not to be as dramatic as I had it in my head as I was rehearsing it earlier today, like a fucking nerd.
And another
Um,
thing.
right. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Um, so um, for some reason I put in my notes, sometimes people just want to be mean to the hot popular girl. Quote. Oh yeah, I know why I put that down. So that was a quote from Kelly Kapoor from The Office. But yeah, that was one of the first thoughts that I had, because it seems like all of these well-known, well-respected um, filmmakers and directors and producers, they're all of a sudden, like within the past year or so, aiming these negative comments towards like comic book movies and the MCU in
Hmm.
particular because they've been so successful. Like Martin Scorsese is another one, and there's a couple others. It's not an isolated incident. This has been a reoccurring thing, and here's the deal. Like, so I get it's easy to target these movies because they have become so big, and it's also easy to target them because you can make a pretty good argument that they're part of the quote unquote money machine of
Mhm.
Hollywood. Uh, but here's I don't fault these directors like Scorsese and Villeneuve for making these comments. Like they're obviously entitled to their opinions. Who I do fault is these fucking journalists who think it's fun or funny to bring up this goddamn topic like every possible fucking chance they get to like ask these like world renowned well respected like filmmakers like, hey, what do you think about comic book movies? Like, obviously they're they don't think that they're absolute garbage because Villeneuve hired like 4 actors from the MCU. Like he hired Dave Bautista, Zendaya, Josh Brolin, and Oscar Isaac, who they're all in Marvel
Mhm.
movies. So obviously he doesn't hate
Right.
them. Uh, but like these fucking journalists and bloggers and these people that interview these well-respected filmmakers, like they just want to stir the shit pot and like get these filmmakers to make nasty comments about like comic book movies. Like, we've talked about this before. They're not supposed to be high art. They're supposed to be fun. And like I just I don't do you kind of see where I'm going with this? Like
Yeah.
it's just a tad bit infuriating that these pieces of shit like constantly bring up this question like, hey, how do you feel about comic book movies? You know what, shut the fuck up. Like, ask me a question. That's like going to like that's like meeting Colonel Sanders and asking him how paper is made instead of asking him the fucking recipe for the 11 herbs and spices. Like, you fucking ass fuck. Like, like, ask him about the goddamn recipe.
So you
Like,
you feel like maybe it's a little bias coming out in the article of the person doing the interview or writing the piece, that they know what they're gonna
yeah,
say or they know what they're fishing for in that moment.
yeah, it that's what it feels like to
Okay.
me.
I could see that.
It's
I could see that. I don't understand how anybody's surprised that Marvel movies were meant to make money. I'm not a cinephile.
mhm,
I wasn't an avid reader of the comic book, so I don't know fully how true to story and true to form they've done the movies. But I
mhm,
know they've taken a lot of input from Stan Lee. He's in every fucking one until he died, right? So I know that
mhm,
they're trying to stay true to the story and stay true to the universe. So I would never
yeah.
I would never say that that wasn't the case. Now, if you're gonna say that they like to copy and paste, yeah, I think that's a fair point to make from somebody who's just now dipping into them. Yeah, okay, there's probably a formula that's used to tell the story. That's fine.
Yeah, but like I think that is, like I said, it's a fair argument to attempt to make the whole copy paste thing, but if you dive just a little bit deeper, like just a tiny bit, like go see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, you will see that that is absolute 100% bullshit. Like, that movie is so fucking unique. It uses all Asian actors, except for one dude who's Razor Fist, and is basically like the punchline of the movie almost. Um, and like it's got fucking wuxia martial arts in
Hmm.
it, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon shit. Like, we have never seen that in a Marvel movie so far. So how the fuck is that copy paste? Like, cram it up your asshole. Cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur.
No, I get it,
Fuck you, Chuck Norris. Uh,
and
um,
I'm with you.
but
I'm with you. If you just want to like shove that into an interview with somebody who's just made this great thing, like, why? You're looking for something there probably.
Yeah, like ask them more questions about Dune. It's fucking Dune, dude. Like ask them more questions about the movie. Don't I don't know. That's my soapbox. I'm stepping off now officially. Um
Yeah, get off,
so
get
yeah,
off, King, not go off, King. Get off, King.
yes. Um but yeah, to segue to something semi-related to Dune, Hans Zimmer, who did, he's done the score for a billion things
Mm-hmm.
and is probably one of the most genius conductors and producers of all time of movie scores. He actually used Dune for his very first Dolby Atmos audio format. And really, the only reason why I know about Dolby Atmos is because I work for a record label company, like a label for classical music, and that's also a distributor of classical music. Um, and Dolby Atmos is a file that we just recently started accepting and distributing. So when I saw that in like a headline, I was like, "Oh snap!" Like I kind of know something about Dolby Atmos. Uh, Basically, it's just the best fucking sound you're going to get uh, ever, up to this point. So if you find a movie that has Dolby Atmos, just fucking go see it. Doesn't matter what it is, because it's going to have like the most immersive 3D layered sound. Like the way that I understand it is that when they record, like, each, it just helps to put each instrument on its own layer so you can better isolate each part of the collective track, so that when you go to listen to it, every every single instrument in that composition is is more clear, and it sounds like an actual band. Like if you're going to go see it live and you're like, oh, I can hear the guitar part, I can hear the bass part, I can hear the drums, like I can hear the vocals, like it's supposed to be that level of immersiveness
Mm-hmm.
where you can hear very clearly, all the elements that make up the score. And so I thought that was cool that, the Dune, um, uh, the Dune, soundtrack will be available in Dolby Atmos. So
I wonder.
that's pretty
I wonder
dope
if that's
for.
something you'll be able to tell outside of the theater.
um I can, but I can't speak to those that don't have a sick ass surround sound setup in their house. That's my one claim to fame. I don't have a lot of nice things. I got Bose headphones and I have a sick ass surround sound system.
Okay.
I don't have a subwoofer yet, but I do have a 5 speaker surround sound in my living room. And the first thing that I watched that I noticed had Dolby Atmos was the Godzilla versus
Mm-hmm.
Kong movie when it came out on HBO Max and theaters. I had to go. I don't think theaters were really open, so I go. I had to watch it at home, and holy shit, did that. Uh, did the sound for that movie blow me out of the fucking
Yeah.
water? Like I mean, it was one of the reasons why I think that movie was so great. It was just the experience. Like I might as well have been in the theater. Like yes, my screen was significantly smaller than a fucking movie theater screen, but um yeah, I'd say if you like, it's going to be one of those things where you need a decent set of speakers or
Mm-hmm.
headphones to really reap the benefits of, like, if it's not going to make too much sense to play a movie that has Dolby Atmos on like some laptop
Yeah.
speakers, like you're not going to get the full effect. But um it is cool that it seems like this is becoming more and more of a trend, so that those that do have the means to take advantage of that great sound quality, that are kind of like audiophiles. Like I wouldn't even necessarily consider myself an audiophile, but I'm bordering on that that edge there. So
Well, it's lost
um
on me. Maybe I'll go get myself some sick ass Bose headphones and check it out.
dude, I bought these I want to say maybe 4 years ago. And I spent like my tax return money on
Yeah.
them. Because I had just been eyeing them for too long, and I was like, "Fuck it, I got the money, I'll get them." And dude, like, uh, best investment of my entire
Yeah.
life.
I've got
I
uh
love, I
I've
love
got a
them.
couple things I bought that I like use every day, and a good set of
Hmm.
headphones. It's pretty solid, pretty solid investment. I'm
Yeah,
still working with these. I think they're like $12 that I bought just
that.
for like starting out. But I was eyeing the Sony ones. They had
Mm,
some that weren't too overly priced. Don't get me wrong; it's still some money for some decent headphones, but
sure.
I need to
Yeah,
upgrade
Sony
these
makes
guys.
some. Sure, Sony makes some good
Yeah,
headphones. My TV is a Sony, and yeah, it's
yeah.
fantastic. Um, but yeah, moving on. So kind of segueing into some uh, DC slash Batman slash Warner Brothers stuff. So just real quick, Matt Reeves, he tweeted a photo of himself editing the new the Batman movie. I think that was back on the 18th of this month, and he was just like I said, he shared a photo of himself editing, and it was just a quick little promo for DC's fandom that they're doing in a couple weeks in October, which I'm pretty fucking stoked for. But like, that's what he's editing for. I mean, obviously he's editing the the movie, but he's also probably putting footage together for a second trailer because we still have only gotten that one trailer for the new Batman
What
movie.
is DC's fandom?
So that is uh how can I explain it? So like Sony and PlayStation had that live stream event like last week or the week
Hmm.
before where they released like a bunch of like upcoming titles.
Yeah.
So imagine that, but it's all DC related, and it's not just like movies. It is movies, it's TV shows, it's video games. So like last year, that was when we got our first look at the Batman movie, and they weren't even done filming. Like I think he said they had like 25% of the movie filmed at that point in time, but they still cut a pretty sick trailer. Uh, but they also had like a I forget the name of the video game, but it was I think it was supposed to the setting is like Batman died, I think, and so it was like Nightwing and maybe Robin and a couple others that had to like step up and replace Batman. Um, I don't think the game has come out yet. If it has, please don't take away my nerdy street cred. Like I said, I'm only a casual gamer, but yeah, it's just like all things DC related.
Hmm.
So it's not just like movies. It's like everything. You can go to like the the website for it and learn a little bit more about it, but it's pretty cool. Just even if like you're not super into DC or um, like into everything that uh they are like
Hmm.
unveiling, it's still fun to like watch all the stuff that they have coming down the pike.
I
So
have never watched a single Superman movie, but I've always heard, and it's like a trope, they've never made a good one
mhm.
that does justice to the character. I know nothing, but that's just something I've heard.
um yeah, I am not a huge you said Superman,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I am not a huge Superman fan, so I'm definitely not the best judge or best person to answer that question. I do know that that's an opinion held by a few
Hmm.
people. I've heard a few people answer that. I've heard a lot of like quote unquote purists say like there hasn't been a good Superman movie since what's his name, uh, the guy, the original Superman. You know who I'm talking
Yeah, the
about?
guy who had
Uh, was it
yeah,
Parkinson's
Reeves,
or
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves?
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't know.
I know it's a
That's just
hotly.
something
I know it's
that I've heard before, and I don't know if it's just gatekeepers being gatekeepers, or if it's like a legit problem
it.
and hasn't been true to the character.
Uh, I'd say it's probably a healthy dose of both because there's going to be unsatisfied entitled pricks, um, and gatekeepers wherever you
Yeah,
go.
get him.
Um, so get them. They didn't follow this shit in middle school. Fucking get them. They made fun of me for it. Um, so yeah, that's it. I'd say it's probably a difference of or a combination of both.
Whatever. That's
So
just something I heard.
uh, yeah. Um.
How about this?
So
How about this? If anybody in
okay.
the Facebook group, you let me know. There you go. There's a call to action.
Yeah.
Fight
Yeah.
online,
Good
you
call to
cowards.
action
Fight it out.
Put up your dukes. So continuing with the DC and Warner Brothers content. Apparently, there has been a little bit of a quote unquote civil war between HBO Max, and Warner Brothers Films. I forget the names of the two parties, but basically they're the chief content officer of HBO Max is like, yeah, let's do more of the Snyderverse stuff,
Mhm.
where they want to continue doing more Snyder made um, DC movies. Like they want to continue the DCEU that he has begin to
Mhm.
establish. We have um, they released the Snyder cut finally of the Justice League. Zach, you didn't see that yet, did you? Or did you? I can't
No, I
remember.
haven't.
Okay. Um, well, it was, some people still had problems with it, but I fucking loved it, and it undoubtedly it was a huge step up from the theatrical release that Joss Whedon had to come in and take over and do all the reshoots for and stuff. Um, but yeah, so apparently the content officer and of HBO Max wants to continue the Snyderverse, and but folks at Warner Brothers Movies do not. They're like, we're fucking done with it. We're ready to move on to other stuff.
Mhm.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I kind of see both sides. Like I would really love to see Zack Snyder just do all of the DC movies from here on out, because I've loved his take on most of what he's contributed to the DCEU so far. So I definitely would be a fan of more movies under his name. But yeah, I can understand some logistical issues that Warner Brothers films may have.
Okay. I have to take
Yeah,
your take on that because I have no idea who
sure.
that person is or why he's great, but I trust you, so
Sure. Zack Snyder, he did 300,
yeah,
and
okay.
I mean, you're familiar with
Oh yeah,
300, right?
yeah.
He did that, and he did Sucker Punch, and God, I'm blanking on a couple of them right now. I could pull it up on IMDb,
Yeah.
but what's the fun in
It's not that deep.
that? It is in fact not. Um,
Hey,
let's see. We apparently.
before you go on,
Sorry, go
I got
ahead.
to plug in my laptop, so before you hit the next topic, let me do that
Okay,
because I didn't plug it in and I don't want my computer today. Hang on.
that's cool. I'm gonna make a note of the timestamp so I can have it for editing purposes.
Okay, sorry.
51. I was making a note of the timestamp
Yep,
for
that's my
editing
bad.
purposes. Nope, you're good. Um, all right, so sorry, I've spent a little too much time on these first few topics, so I'm gonna just try and bang out the next couple. So for or during this last Sunday's Emmys, the Emmy
Mhm.
Awards, we got our first footage for the Peacemaker spin-off series. Peacemaker, of course, he was a one of the characters in the new Suicide Squad movie, directed by James Gunn. So this is going to be I think they're calling it a spiritual successor um, to the Suicide Squad. So that's pretty cool. It was re- reported, quote unquote, not set in stone or anything, but just reported that Ezra Miller has signed on for a trilogy of Flash movies. I mean, we're obviously confirmed for one, and it has been confirmed that they're doing the story from the Flashpoint comic book series, which I am familiar with. I have not personally read. Zach, are you familiar at all? Like at least the name
No,
of
I'm not.
Flashpoint by chance? No, it's cool. Like I said, I'm basically just familiar with the name of it. Um, I would like to read it before the movies come out, though. Um, but apparently, it is a big to do in the Flash uh, just overall character arc in the comic books. It's apparently one of the more popular runs. Um, so yeah, there's that. Let's see. Um, let's get out of the comic book movie shit. So Mike Flanagan, one of my favorite new horror directors. If you're not familiar with him, he did The Haunting of Hill House and also The Haunting of Bly Manor. He did Gerald's Game, a couple others, uh, but he his newest series, it's a limited series coming to Netflix actually this Friday, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's called Midnight Mass. Um, and from what I gathered in my in from in what I've read in my research, it's for the most part his first original work. Like everything else has been based off of either like a previous work or like a adapted from a book or a short story. Like he did Doctor Sleep, obviously that's based off a Stephen King book. Haunting of Hill House is based very very loosely off of I believe is a book by Shirley Jackson. Gerald's Game, that's another Stephen King book. Uh, but yeah, from what I gather, Midnight Mass is like his first like foray into like original work. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to see what he does with that. I watched the trailer the other day and it looks fucking awesome. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Um, Zach, I know you really liked the Mandalorian, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I really like that a lot.
Cool. I did as well. I fucking loved it. I thought it was an awesome addition to not only the Star Wars catalog but the Disney Plus catalog
Mhm.
as well. But there's been some news regarding the Book of Boba Fett. So it was they actually released the episode titles and they all follow like the same kind of like naming convention, like it has the blank, so like the champion, the assassin, etc etc etc. But they all the numbering of them also it's slightly confusing but at the same time clears things up. So it starts with chapter 17, and that answers the question of where it falls within the universe of the Mandalorian.
Okay.
Um, because that's what the Mandalorian did. Where if you noticed where season 2 started, it wasn't like season 2 episode 1. It was like chapter 9 or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, and then ran to, I believe, chapter 16, which would make chapter 17 the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
So this kind of answers the question of like, where does the Book of Boba Fett fall within the realm of the storyline that they told with the Mandalorian? And I mean, I don't think it necessarily answers a ton of questions, but it is apparent that it is supposed to kind of take place in the same worlds. Like they're not completely writing off the Mandalorian and his character. And it seems like it is possible that there could be some crossover as well, where we see the Mandalorian in some episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, which would be pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Zach, what do you think? Are you excited for this? Are you
Didn't even
how do you feel about
didn't
it?
even know it was a thing, but I do love all the new Star Wars content coming out. Like I love the Mandalorian. I like the new movies. I think they're fun. It makes me want to like go back into that universe because like Marvel,
Mhm.
I had only seen like the original trilogy like in passing in the prequels
Right.
with like Jar Jar Binks and all that stuff. And I did actually watch those. I think I watched up to oh god, I can't remember if I watched the first two of the original trilogy, and don't at me, I don't care. I can't remember the titles, but or what order they go in. But I've always appreciated and really liked the movies, and I'm loving all the new stuff that's coming
Hmm.
out. I couldn't get enough of Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it too. So good. And like I I like how it's both literally and figuratively like a little bit more grounded in reality. Like yes, there's like the crate dragon, which is fucking dope and terrifying. Like I remember seeing that shit, and like Lindsay and I were watching it. My wife Lindsay, for those that don't know, like I just turned to her, mouth open, like, holy fucking shit. um, so yeah, I'm pretty pumped for the Book of Boba Fett. I'm excited to see where they go with it. He seems a little bit more. I don't want to say evil, but um, his character might have more questionable morals than Mando. I could be wrong.
You kind of got that vibe,
You
didn't you, from the Mandalorian too? I don't know why. I don't know why I
yeah,
felt
like
like he may have been a little bit more rough.
so if you had to climb out of a fucking Sarlacc pit, you might have a bit of a chip on your shoulder, right? Like I mean, if I had to climb out of a fucking Sarlacc pit, like first of all, everyone for like 40 fucking years thinks you're dead, all right? Then you got to climb out and you got to wander around the fucking desert for who knows how long until some random person picks you up, be like, "Hey, hop on in. I'll take you to the nearest Sitco gas station. Get yourself a Gatorade." Um, that's exactly what happened, by the way. That was his escape.
So,
Uh,
do you remember me asking you about your favorite actors, like B list, and how I wanted to like play a
yes.
game, and we didn't do it because
Yeah.
I decided not to do it because I thought it would be stupid. But it's funny you bring that up because I just
Okay.
discovered Cameo, and I know Cameo's been around, but I've never actually been on it. Have you ever been on the site and looked at who's there?
So one of my friends asked or brought it up during a conversation we were having a few months back, and I forget what the context was, but he brought it up, and I didn't know what it was, and so I went to go look at it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. So yeah, short answer is yes, I am
Well,
aware.
one of the people that I came across was somebody named Mark Anthony Austin, and he was wearing a Mandalorian helmet, Boba Fett's helmet, in his picture. And as, a matter of fact, in all of his pictures, he's wearing the helmet, which I guess you kind of have to, right? If you're going to
Okay,
be that guy and you're going to do cameo, you got to wear the helmet, right? But
right.
you want to take a stab at how much it cost Mark Anthony Austin to do a cameo and wish your buddy a happy birthday or tell somebody to fuck off for you?
$300.
$50. That's how much it takes for a personal use cameo
Really?
from this person. Yep, unless it's for a business,
Holy
and then
shit!
it says $350.
That
And we can play this game later if you want, because I've actually found a few people that you would remember from your childhood on here.
dude, we need to uh, let's use our Patreon funds and
Get a cameo.
and, yeah, and get them to give shout out. Like, I mean, we're not registered as an LLC, so we can just say like, "Hey, it's for the podcast." We're not registered as an LLC, so it's not for business use.
Well, how about we just get
Um,
one for one of our Patreon donors? We'll just pick one at random and get a Patreon for somebody.
this is what your money is going towards.
But it's got to be like it's got to be
ki-
like, hang on, I found the guy who played Mr. Feeney on here. It's got to be just it can't be like anything that they would like. It's got to be like I found the kid from the movie Brink when you were at the Disney movie, or it's got to be like Dougie Doug's on here or Chris Hansen from Dateline. I would spend $50 to send somebody a cameo from Chris Hansen just apropos of nothing.
Yeah, so I thought that it was like, so I guess that's the reason why you said like B-list actors, is because like a lot of B-list and C-list actors are on there because
Not
they
a lot
have
of
time to
A-listers.
do it.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna find.
But you know who I did find on there is John Cleese, the fucking legendary John Cleese.
Spell it. I'm bad with actors' names. Like I have to see a face.
John Cleese. So he was in a lot of Monty Python stuff.
Actor comedian John Cleese.
Yeah, look him up real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he
So
doesn't have a price.
You know the face.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
taking any
Well,
bookings at this moment.
Oh, he's probably busy.
Yeah.
Nah. But yeah. So but yeah, that's cool. We should look into that for some sort of future endeavor. That would be fun. So the really the last thing I have is we got the first trailer for Guillermo del Toro's new movie Nightmare Alley, which looks fucking dope as shit. It's got a pretty cool cast. It's got Bradley Cooper, Kate Blanchett, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Richard Jenkins, Leroy Jenkins. Sorry, had to do it. Rooney Mara, Ron Perlman, and David Stratham.
Strathern.
I, I don't know if I know that person. Maybe he's a face person and not a name person where I recognize his face. Anyways, but yeah, I didn't take down the plot or synopsis because I'm a terrible person. But yeah, just go look it up yourself if you haven't had a chance to look at the plot or watch the trailer. It looks awesome. I mean, it looks like a classic Guillermo del Toro movie. He makes incredible films, and I'm super excited for this movie.
I'll check it out.
So yeah. Zach, do you have you seen any of his movies by chance? I think he
sure
did
I
like
have.
I believe he did The Shape of Water. He also did Pan's Labyrinth.
God, I know I've seen some of Pan's Labyrinth. Really dug that too. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that is a fucking great movie.
Mm-hmm. I like that kind of stuff though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Do you you said you went through all your news items,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I just had this couple of things I wanted to talk about. Before we move on, you want to take a stab at how much it's going to cost Mr. Feeney for a cameo?
I'm not sure. Who is that?
Bill Daniels. You remember the show Boy Meets World?
Mm.
Did you ever watch that one?
Okay, he was the teacher,
mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Um, well, I overshot last time. Um, I'm gonna go with $100.
$150.
Okay,
What about
not not too far off.
Corey's brother Eric? Eric Matthews. Over under Mr. Feeney. What do you think?
Uh, See, like, I feel like if I actually watched Boy Meets World growing up, I could do better at this game.
Well, Will
But
Friedle was the actor's name, if I'm saying that right. $80 for him. For anybody that cares, the dad,
okay,
William Russ, $50. So Feeney coming out on top. And for anybody that wants to, you can go on Cameo and click on Bill Daniels' link and realize how much of a son of a bitch time really is. Because it just
is he?
he's an old
Is he looking a
he's
little
old now, man. Yeah,
long in a tooth?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well,
what about
you know.
Brian Cox from Succession and X-Men? It's up there.
Okay.
$325 for a cameo from him.
All right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of people on here that like Kenny G's on here. Why? Well, I know why.
Kenny fucking.
Those albums aren't moving. And there's all kinds of there's like athletes on here, and there's YouTubers and just internet famous people. Pretty cool. Check it out. Get on there and mess around.
Okay. Do the mess around. You want to do our shit that doesn't suck segment?
Sure, we can do that.
Jump into that shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Let us do it. I'm gonna pull up. I actually just started. Have you ever heard of Letterbox, the app?
Letterbox. No.
Yeah, or I guess it's Letterboxed. It lets you keep track of the movies that you watch.
Okay.
So if you watch a new movie, then you can add it to the list of movies that you've watched. So I've been using it to keep track of the shit that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Fuck. I did mention Nosferatu earlier for a few minutes, but fuck it. I'm gonna do that for my shit that doesn't suck. So yeah, like I know I claim to be a pretty decent horror fan, yet I am just now getting around to watching the infamous Nosferatu film. So I do apologize. You can probably take a couple strikes off of my nerdy street cred when it comes to horror, but um, like I said earlier in the episode, I did really enjoy it. There were a couple of moments where I was like, "Oh shit, he's coming to get you!" like, but like there's a moment in spoiler alert, I guess, where he's sailing under in a under the cabin or whatever in a boat, because this is like 1920s, when people sailed around in boats and ships.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a dude who was like breaking open coffins to see what's inside, because they were like transporting coffins, and like a bunch of mice come out of it. And I don't know if it like disturbed his slumber, but all of a sudden Nosferatu's like, "Oh," and he's like, "I'm gonna get you." I mean, obviously it's a silent film, so he didn't say that, but the look on his face, I was like, he is going to eat your fucking nutsack. Or drink your blood. One of
those. Yeah. Speaking of vampires,
inevitably,
did we talk about What We Do in the Shadows new season? I think I brought that up last episode.
Yeah, I think you did bring that up.
We should be getting our third episode of that. I think we're getting our third episode this week, so look out for that. If you're not into it, now's a great time to start, because we're only a few episodes in.
Yeah, and that's all on Hulu, correct?
Yep.
Right on. Yeah. I definitely. It'll probably have to wait until after a horror movie season, after I bang out all these horror movies that I need to watch. But yeah, that's definitely on my list. Like I said, when you brought it up last week, I had started watching the um, the first season, and I really really liked it. But I just, for whatever reason, shit came up, and then it's just my ADHD brain was like, oh, let's go focus on something else for like a prolonged period of time, and then I promptly forgot about it. So yeah, but anyways, that's enough about me. What you got for us this week, Zachary?
If you haven't seen it, there is a show called Baskets. I think it's also on Hulu. Have you dipped into that one yet?
No, it does ring a bell though.
Zach Galifianakis plays two brothers. He plays two roles, and his
Okay.
mom is played by Louis Anderson. And for if no other reason, you go watch this show and watch Louis Anderson absolutely crush this role. He is so fucking good. He makes the show.
Oh
I'm
my
not
god.
kidding. He is that good in that role. I highly recommend that one.
Okay, well, I like Louis Anderson and I fucking love Zach
Mhm.
Galifianakis, so I am definitely gonna put this one on my list. You said it's called Baskets.
Baskets, yeah.
Okay. Well, I am opening up my Hulu app on my cellular device, and
I'm
I
not
am
even going to
going
get into the
to
plot
add
point.
it.
I'm not going to get into the plot of a story. I'll let you go in cold. It really is a good show. 3 seasons, I
Okay.
think. And the third season
Right
is
on.
my favorite. It's when a new character is introduced, and he just does. Usually, they kind of drop off after like the second or third season, but it's just like solid all the way through.
Sure.
Something else.
Awesome. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I got a box from Michael, my other buddy Michael. He sent me. You know that show Hot Ones. You ever watch that one?
That's a YouTube
Mm-hmm.
series,
Yep.
right? Or okay, yeah. So I have seen bits and pieces and clips. I don't think I've ever watched a whole episode, but I am familiar with the premise. It's like celebrities or big personalities get on there and they try foods with different these like powerful, knock your socks off hot sauces,
Chicken
and
wings.
then have like a conversation.
It's
Yes.
wings. So it's like a hot wing show, unless the person doesn't eat meat, and what
Okay.
they'll do like cauliflower or something like that. But it's pretty good. They go from like a lower tier hot sauce to like a higher tier hot sauce, and they work their way up. And while they're doing that, he interviews them, and it's
Hmm.
the Pete Davidson one. He's just falling to pieces like halfway through, and he's like choking and sweating and like having to blow his nose and like chug milk. It's funny, but you can buy the hot
Oh
sauces.
my
And
god.
Michael Thomas sent me a box of some hot ones hot sauces. I've got like I think 4 bottles in the fridge in there. And I've been trying
Oh,
those. Yeah.
nice.
So if anyone's interested, if you're a fan of the show, you can actually buy the hot sauces from them, and they're good. They're good. I'm really
That's
really
cool.
pleased with that. Yeah.
I don't handle spicy too well. I do like a nice buffalo
Hmm.
sauce, but I will say that like a mild is about as strong as I can go. Like I can do sometimes I can do a medium, but mild is I don't know. I am so white in
Standard
that
white,
aspect.
right?
Like I
Black pepper too
do
spicy.
have this mayonnaise is spicy. Um so I wanted to ask you, have you ever had to sign a waiver for any hot sauce? Like, because I know
No.
that at some places, maybe at I think at Buffalo Wild Wings
Yeah.
and several other places like that, that special that like hot sauce is their thing, where like a wide variety of hot sauces is kind of like their
Hmm.
thing. For the spicy one, like top tier,
Yeah.
you have to sign a waiver for it, because it's gonna melt your fucking face
Yeah.
off.
Funny
So I
story. I've
was
actually had their hottest one by accident before. I was with my dad and I was younger, maybe 20 something, early 20s. wow, feels weird
Okay.
saying that, but we were in a Buffalo Wild Wings, and neither one of us were real familiar with the restaurant, so we both like hot
Mm-hmm.
wings, so we ordered the hottest sauce they had. That's what we told her, and she was like, "You sure?" And we're like, "Yeah," thinking it was just like your a little bit hotter than your standard hot, like you would get anywhere else. It just hurt. It
Right.
didn't even taste good. It was just painful. They didn't like make a sign a waiver or anything like that, but damn, it wasn't good. I don't like that. I do like some spice. Like I put spice in pretty much everything I eat, I feel like, but that just
Mm-hmm.
there was no flavor, you know?
Yeah. So, our mutual friend Andrew, whenever the three of us used to work at Olive Garden, back in those days, um, Andrew and I went to Buffalo Wild Wings after work one day, and he wanted to try it. And they were like, "Yeah, we usually don't, you know, give you just one, but I think since like they were getting ready to close, like they had some extra wings left over, so they brought him like one wing
Mm-hmm.
dipped in or tossed in the hottest sauce." And I took out my phone and I took video of him. I wish I still had it,
Ugh,
but it unfortunately was on like an older phone.
gross.
But he was like, "It's just it kind of comes at you in waves, really." And like I see like the sweat starting to beat up on his forehead and
God,
just drip down his
that's what
face.
it is,
Like
man.
he tried to power
It
through it.
doesn't taste
Yeah,
good. It's just painful.
it's just pain.
Yeah, no. Actually, I've
Yeah.
got sitting over here thinking about it. It's not too late. I'm trying not to eat past 6. I was like 10 o'clock here. I might go plop some of those boneless panko chicken things in the air fryer and toss a few just for a little snack. Kind of hungry.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I guess that's a good place to stop it. Um, Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to another electrifying and invigorating edition of the Garage Podcast. Um, we appreciate you tuning in. Like always, you can find us on all the social media platforms, all the podcast apps. Leave us a rating and review if you feel so inclined. Subscribe to our Patreon if you enjoy throwing money at complete strangers or near strangers.
Something's got to keep this
We love it.
motherfucker afloat.
Yeah, we promise we probably won't use it for cocaine and hookers. Probably can't make any hardcore promises, but we probably won't use it for
I
cocaine
get
and
drug
hookers.
tested regularly,
Um,
so I can speak for myself. I don't know what David's going to do with it.
yeah, yeah, all that unaccounted for time where I'm like just out driving around and leave the wife and kids at home for hours on end. Lindsay's like, he said he was driving Uber. I don't know what he's doing.
Do you do that
But
really? Do you
anyways,
drive Uber sometimes?
no,
No.
no. I used to several years
I thought
ago,
about
just
it.
as a side
Yeah.
thing. It's not a bad way to make money. In a pinch, like it's super easy to hop on the platform and start
Yeah.
driving. Like I mean, as long as you don't have an issue passing a background check, and you have a good car in working condition, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So. But anyways, thank you, listeners. And as always, be kind, stay geeky, and eat lots of cheesecake. Bye.
Goodbye.